Hi, James. It's Barry calling.
Hey,
How are you?
cool,
You've been
cool.
on a bit of a swing of late. Pretty sure you're always out and going. Where have you been?
I've been quite a lot over to the North America and South America. Last month I did it like 3 times, the transatlantic flight, to kind of wore me out. But then this month I'm just in the UK, just kind of playing around. Apart from this weekend I'm going to Switzerland, but the rest of the time just England, Scotland. So it should be nice and easy for me.
What's your favorite venue so far?
Oh, it's so hard to say, really. I mean, because, there's amazing clubs everywhere. I mean, there's places like Cavo Paradiso and Mykonos, just like such a beautiful setting that you can't really complain. But then, I had a great time. I really like coming to System Sound Bar. Like, I really enjoy playing there. It's a cool little space to play in. So, I mean, there's a favorite venue in every country almost. So.
If you had the chance to come back to Toronto, would System be your first choice, or would you maybe want to try something else?
Well, I haven't actually seen any of the other venues, so System is still my first choice. But just because I'm ignorant, maybe there's more places. I don't know. I have to find out, don't I?
Yeah, the big one would be to hit is the Gov. So
Yeah,
a lot
I've
of
played the government before, but I guess I kind of prefer the smaller, the more intimate little places than the giant main room business. Gives you a lot more freedom with the music in a smaller space.
the DJ Mag just came out. You rose 40 spots to number 36. How do you think this happened?
I don't know. I was well surprised, to be honest. Like, pretty happy, but don't know. I'm just really grateful to everyone that voted. I mean, I didn't even bother to ask anyone to vote for me this year, and I kind of wasn't really expecting a lot to happen. But I don't know. I guess I visited a lot more places than I remember over the last year.
So, how would you define your own DJ style?
I mean, I guess in one word, I'd say eclectic, because other than that, I mean, I play everything from like records from the techno section to records from the deep house section to like ambient tracks over the top of things. I do like, I guess what defines me and makes me special is that I try and layer things up and combine things in a musical way, and really use my music theory knowledge to let me get away with layering up all these different styles and pulling it off most of the time, or some of the time, anyway.
Of late, there's been sort of a progressive and a breaks takeover in the trance scene. Do you see this, or is this just sort of a fad?
I hadn't really noticed that. I mean, in Europe and in the things that I look at, I mean, trance is quite a long way from us being a scene that I pay much attention to anymore. And it's maybe, I mean, you see, though, like in the minimal tech scene, people are taking on progressive influences, and then, like German DJs like Alan Alien and people like that describe records from Border Community, my label, as being the new wave of trance. It's really, and they're like quite happy. They're DJs who wouldn't touch normal trance, but then they're quite happy and pleased to say that this Nathan Fake record is like perfect trance or whatever. So it's quite interesting how everything, it seems, especially in Europe, that everything is just coming together, and you get techno DJs playing the same records that I play, and electro DJs, and backroom DJs playing the same stuff as us. It's all kind of getting quite interesting and mashed up together. I can see it happening with trance, I guess, but I'm a bit more ignorant about that, so I don't want to give an opinion.
Um, where do you find most of the music that you play?
I mean, a lot of it. I do a lot of shopping on internet record shops, and I bought my first MP3 this week. I'm well pleased with myself. So that kind of thing, but also like I love like all these free net labels like Cinerism and EpsilonLab.com and people like that who have established artists from the underground offering their music for free. I think it's a brilliant thing for people to be doing. But I mean, apart from that, just like the London record shops, and then there's a mountain of demo CDs in our house, which is like it's a few buckets full of CDs now. So there's always that to go through if I run out of other records.
Yeah, which I highly doubt you will. So, were you a DJ before you were a producer?
The first thing I did, like, I mean, I could DJ before my first record came out, but I tried to make a record before I tried to learn to DJ, if you see what I mean. I was trying to make music from when I was like 15, and I got some decks when I was like 18, I think. So it's, I mean, now I consider myself like that, a label owner and a producer, like equally, I think, kind of anyway, for the time being.
Right. Production-wise, do you feel that your music has made an impact on the electronic dance market?
Mm. I mean, it feels arrogant to say yes, but I'm seeing it a little bit, like in different scenes and on different levels and in different ways. But it just does seem, especially now with the label, and it's not just my music, but it's like the border community sound is like it's being seen as a bit of its own movement, separate from progressive and separate from the electro stuff, which is big now. And it's, yeah, I mean, I just feel arrogant saying it. I can't quite bring myself to say it, but yeah, I mean, even in progressive, I mean, there's lots of records which sound like what I was doing 2 or 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, I guess, now. So, I mean, there's still that, you know, that twinkly, like, echoey sound with the bass lines and everything. It's kind of caught on in progressive now, but it's too late for me. Like, I've left.
So what does Border bring to the scene, then? Different than anything else?
I guess, I mean, it's that eclectic, like, free approach. Like, lots of our releases, we try and span, you know, the ambient tracks as well as the club tracks and the kind of interesting music and interesting sounds, as well as your straight up, like, dance floor filling stuff, and also providing DJ tool versions of things and, like, techno acid versions of things that DJs can use to layer up and, you know, make their own version of the sound as well. So, and it's, I guess as well, like, we're just lucky that I found quite a few really great artists, like people like Nathan Fake. Just, you know, everyone's falling over them at the moment. You know, Chase. Yeah. So.
Do you think it's important for the bigger DJs to have their own versions of songs that are sort of exclusive? I noticed a lot of DJs have been doing that of late, and as you had mentioned, Border does allow those DJs to sort of, you know, build on a song.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's quite cool when people do that. I mean, especially with the big tunes. There's so many big tunes that it's just boring. Like, you mix it in and everyone's like, yeah, it's a big tune, but then 2 minutes into it, they know what's coming, you know, they're bored already. So having your own little quirky version is cool, and, like, it's quite fun you take your tunes away at the weekend and you're sitting on the plane and you run out of in-flight movies and you're like, right, I'll re-edit something. And that's always good. Fun to do, and then you get to play it out like 2 hours later. But I mean, I don't know, quite often people are like, yeah, I did a special version. It's like, yeah, but you're not as good a producer as the producer who wrote it, so you've ruined it. And that's, you know, some DJs should stick to playing records rather than trying to remake them, for sure. So.
Just of late, I read somewhere, someone was asking whether DJs are artists. Do you believe that?
I mean, there's different levels of DJ. I mean, DJs who just mix one record into the next. I mean, there's definitely a real skill to building a set, and I grow to appreciate that more and more. And just the simple, like, order of what records you play is so important. But I mean, when you compare that to someone like a violinist or something, or, you know, a guitarist playing guitar in front of all those people in a band. I mean, it seems like a much more talented thing to be able to play the guitar than to mix 2 records together, no matter how great your order is. And so I guess the only DJs that I really look at as being artists are people like Richie Hawtin, who are using the effects, the laptops, the samplers, and trying to really push it to the next level and do something live and interactive and creative, rather than just sequencing other people's music, which is, you know, a million people can do that. So.
Come to Me is to be released soon. Your follow-up to Nothing with Thompson. What can we expect from the track?
It's a disappointing follow-up to Nothing. I mean, it's just not because I don't like it, because now, initially I found it hard to do a club mix of it that I liked, but now I just finished one a couple of weeks ago, like a new mix of it, which I'm really happy with. So, but it's a lot darker and more of just like I was wanting to write, a sad, dark song rather than the whole big club anthem thing that nothing what kind of was. So yeah, it's a lot more organic, and it's a lot more newer sounding and more underground kind of thing, just kind of a real song.
And we expect that out soon?
Probably after Christmas sometime. Yeah, I got nothing coming up the rest of this year, but then next year is just going to be manic. You're going to get sick of saying my name ever. I promise. I'm going to do a mix CD, an EP, there's the Holden and Thompson, and then a couple of other little projects along the line as well. So quite a lot of stuff. Next year is the exciting one.
Excellent. Well, thank you for talking with us.
Cool. Cheers for doing it. That's cool. Hi, it's James Holden, and you're listening to Amplified Radio. Hi, I'm James Holden. This is my latest track on Amplified Radio.